This is Joe's Corner 76. I discuss the human condition in all its phases. In order to change it, we have to be involved. Do you think the West is losing its way? Is freedom lost? There is no doubt in my mind and many others that the West, its way of life and system of laws and freedoms, is under attack. The first thing the West must do is stop this orgy of apologizing for the free and open society we built. Let's clearly state that it is our Judeo-Christian heritage that over the course of many years built one of the freest societies in the world. Capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other political system. Socialism has destroyed millions. A woke and politically correct elite can't do this. The majority need to wake up, reject these people. We have a lot of people who feel they are entitled to the benefits of our society and that they have no responsibility to defend it. Our whole just society that operates under the rule of law was built on each person taking responsibility for their actions for the good of society. I am tired of all the whiners in our society who want to get their way by stating that it is oppressive, a privileged patriarchy, colonialist oppressors, homophobic, and needs to be overthrown and replaced. Perhaps if they can't or won't compete in a free society, they should leave instead of taking the privileges they have that allows them the luxury of freedom to denounce our system and call for its overthrow. Our very freedom is being compromised and stolen from us. There is only one truth, the truth. Have you not heard the phrase, "Let me tell you my truth"? This means very clearly that these people believe they have the truth. Anyone who doesn't agree is labeled anything from a racist, a homophobe, a misogynist, or more. These groups are well organized and they apply pressure on politicians, the media, and business. The media has evolved into a very leftist ideology that accepts the viewpoints of these groups. Truth in journalism no longer matters or is prevalent. Social programs like Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok have become the place to get news and information. It's built for the 30-second attention span, and the truth is not always a common factor. We need to completely revamp our media so that facts and truths are published after they are verified. We need to learn again there is only one truth before we see the death of truth. Freedom of speech is gradually being eroded in the West. Legislation is getting passed to control what can be published, and the government decides what content can be used and what politicians are spending an amount of time on this. Pronoun issues, even to the point of telling us what to call certain groups, are another pain. You can be certain that these groups who oppose democracy aren't wasting their time on this. They are working relentlessly to undermine us. We should have the right to disagree and not be labeled as long as we respect each other's rights and freedoms. This is the prevalent idea that a generation ago was generally accepted. The freedoms we enjoy were bought at a heavy price and sacrifice. So many take these freedoms of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to vote too casually. It really pisses me off when I hear young people say they won't wear the poppy because it glorifies war. We are in the midst of World War III. It's not a global conflict with open conflict on a larger scale as in the past. This is a war of cyber attack, support for terrorist groups who want to destroy our freedom, large-scale stealing of our intellectual property and industrial secrets. The anti-democratic forces are also building up their military on all fronts. As in the last Great War, we are facing an enemy that we are aware of. Are we, as in the past, going to ignore the challenge until the last moment, as we did before, or act now? We need to provide our armed services with the equipment that they need to defend us and restore our pride in our military so they are proud to serve. We can't build a strong military service without these things. Our military is there to preserve peace by being strong enough to prevent war, by showing any foes they would pay a high price. We have to stop inviting anyone into our free society who clearly states they want to overthrow it. We have to deal with those presently in our society. We thought that they would see the benefits of freedom and change. They won't. They are using our system to fund their desire for us to accept their ways. We need to label these groups for the terrorists they are and for the terrorist organizations they fund. The barbarians aren't at the gate, they're inside. Our society is becoming polarized. Hate is on the rise. Society is breaking into tribal blocks. We are losing our unity of purpose as nation states. If the states disintegrates, we are open to defeat. We need to realize that our nation states are the protection we need. United democratic states can preserve our way of life. Be proud of your country. Stop letting the woke trying to rewrite our history, and never apologize for being the freest society in the world. We need to accept and teach our history, good and bad, and realize we have evolved to a free state that values liberty. Why don't the political and educational authorities have the guts to state that biologically there are only two sexes, male and female? A female is one who can give birth. Acknowledge that the family of men and women raising children together has been and is the backbone of society. Women have fought for and won many battles to get where they are today. They have the right to state they want to compete in their sports without males who claim to be females participating, and they have the right to their own dressing rooms. Respect their rights. We spend far too much time debating intersex issues instead of resolving serious society issues and dangers to our democracy. We need to acknowledge that the nuclear family was and is the building block of our society. They also need our support. We have strong human rights legislation to protect against hate. The majority oppose teaching young children that they should be another gender. They're confused enough as it is. Parents deserve to know if their children change their pronouns. Do we really want drag queens influencing young children? It's time that our education establishment realizes parents are the ones with the right to make decisions on their children's lives. Universities were a place where all types of opinions were expressed and debated. This allowed students to reach their own conclusions. Now, after a whole generation was educated by leftists, socialists, and neo-Marxists, we are having students indoctrinated in the belief that to hear any opinions that share conservative and truthful ideas shouldn't be allowed to speak. It appears that the little dears would be traumatized. So gutless university administrators don't support free speech. Truth doesn't matter. They are too busy providing safe spaces for these wusses. The universities and faculty need to refocus on teaching rational thinking, or they should be defunded if they won't. We still need rational, truth-seeking people to save our society. We need to stop the destruction of young men they're trying to emasculate. We need to tell them to get involved in society. They have to take responsibility for their lives by getting involved in society, volunteering, getting a job, so they are doing something to improve the world. They need to take back their roles as providers, protectors, and partners for their wives and children. This is not regressing, but rather progressing back to a stable society. Do you feel we are under attack, or is everything? Remember, you reap what you sow. You can hear me on Spotify and YouTube at Joe's Corner 76. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Joe's Corner 76. If you enjoyed this podcast, tell your friends. There are many more you can hear on Spotify and YouTube at Joe's Corner 76.